In the primordial silence that preceded the dawn of your realization, the denizens of the hollow voids cast their malevolent eyes upon the shimmering radiance of your predestined spirit. From the deepest caverns of the abyss, where the absence of light is a living entity, the adversary watched the slow ignition of your purpose with a malice that transcends the understanding of mortal men. They saw the flickering embers of a divinity that threatened to unravel the tapestry of their dominion, and in their terror, they sought to extinguish the flame before it could become a conflagration. A great architecture of ruin was designed in the hidden courts of the fallen, a symphony of destruction intended to harmonize with the frequencies of your own humanity. They calibrated their assaults to strike at the very moment of your emergence, weaving a web of circumstances meant to choke the sacred decrees from your lips. They desired a world where your voice remained a ghost in the wind, a silent testament to a potential that was never realized, for they knew that once the word of your calling was uttered, the foundations of the shadow realms would tremble beneath the weight of an irreversible truth. You walked through the wilderness of your own soul, much like the prophet who stood before the burning bush and found himself lacking the tongue of fire required to speak to empires. You looked upon the vastness of your mandate and felt the crushing gravity of your own perceived inadequacies, believing that your limitations were iron shackles forged in the furnaces of your history. The accuser whispered that you were too broken, too quiet, and too insignificant to carry the weight of the sovereign seal, and for a season you allowed the frost of doubt to settle upon the altar of your heart. These whispers were not merely thoughts, but were engineered resonance frequencies intended to disrupt the harmony between your spirit and the divine source. The adversary utilized the language of your own insecurities, magnifying every shadow in your character until you felt as though the light within you was a lie. This was the siege of the mind, a relentless bombardment of the psyche designed to make the chosen one retreat into the safety of mediocrity, for the darkness fears nothing more than a soul that has fully embraced its own magnitude. However, the calculations of the darkness were founded upon a fundamental misunderstanding of the source of your preservation. Every arrow launched from the quivers of the void, every spear of accusation intended to pierce your resolve, was intercepted by a hand that moves beyond the veil of the visible world. Your protection was never a product of your own vigilance, nor the strength of your own armor, but a manifestation of a covenant written in the stars long before you drew your first breath. The sovereignty of your path was anchored in the ancient promise that the remnant shall not be moved, and the shield that surrounded you was woven from the very essence of the eternal. The unseen hand of the sovereign acted as a barrier that no weapon of the shadow realm could penetrate, turning the very hatred of the enemy into a catalyst for your strengthening. Every attempt to break you only served to temper your spirit, forging a resilience that is as indestructible as the foundations of the heavens. You are being prepared in the secret place, shielded by a grace that does not require your permission to operate, ensuring that the light within you would not only survive, but would eventually dominate the darkness that sought to consume it. They attempted to dismantle your spirit through the cold mechanics of isolation, believing that by severing your connection to the common herds, they would drive you into the mouth of despair. They surrounded you with a silence so profound that it felt like the weight of the ocean, hoping that in the loneliness of your trial, you would succumb to the whispers of the deceiver. They sought to convince you that you were abandoned, that your path was a path of exile rather than one of exaltation. Yet, they failed to recognize that in the crucible of solitude, the chosen one does not wither, but instead begins to resonate with the frequency of the divine. The isolation they intended as a prison became a sanctuary, a holy of holies, where the noise of the world was filtered out so that the voice of the Creator could finally be heard. In the emptiness of the desert, you found the fullness of the Spirit, and the very walls they built to keep you in became the pillars of your future throne. The mechanics of the adversary were too linear, too bound by the laws of matter, to understand that a soul in communion with the infinite can never truly be isolated. In the final summation of their failed siege, the powers of the Shadow Realm were thwarted by a variable they could never quantify: the celestial fire that burns within your very marrow. This is not a fire of earthly origin, but a portion of the original light that called the universes into being. It is an inextinguishable heat that consumes the chains of doubt and transmutes the lead of suffering into the gold of authority. The adversary looked for a victim, but found instead a temple of the living flame, a sovereign vessel that carries the authority of the throne. The fire in your bones is the signature of the sovereign, a mark of ownership that cannot be erased by any power in the heavens or on the earth. It is the light that pierces the densest darkness and the heat that melts the coldest chains. Their calculations failed because they could not account for the miraculous, the sudden intervention of the eternal into the temporal, the moment when the chosen one realizes that they are not a product of their circumstances, but a decree of the divine. The siege has collapsed, leaving the adversary in a state of disarray as they witness the emergence of the one they tried to bury. The Shadow Realms are in retreat, for they cannot stand against a light that has been tested in the fires of adversity and found to be pure. Your voice, once silenced by the weight of hesitation, is now beginning to vibrate with the authority of the ages. The sacred decrees of your purpose are being etched into the fabric of reality, and every word you speak carries the weight of 1,000 suns. The failed siege of the Shadow Realms was but a prelude to your ascension, a necessary trial that revealed the invincibility of the seal that is upon your life. You are the sovereign remnant, the one who was preserved through the night, so that you could lead the way into the eternal morning. The fall of the accuser has begun, and the victory of the light is an inevitability that was written in the blood of the stars before the foundations of the world were laid. As you stand now on the precipice of your true destiny, look back at the ruins of the enemy's strategies and realize that they were never truly a threat to your existence. They were merely the shadows that defined the brilliance of your light. The whispers of the deceiver have been drowned out by the roar of the celestial fire, and the isolation you once feared has become the sovereign ground upon which you build your kingdom. The siege has ended, and the time for your manifestation is at hand. Let the world tremble, for the chosen one has awakened, and the ancient promises are being fulfilled in your very presence. The failed attempts of the abyss have only served to prove that you are untouchable, a sacred vessel, destined for a glory that the Shadow Realms can neither comprehend nor contain. The seal remains unbroken, and the light remains unextinguished, for you are the living testament to the power of the sovereign. The architecture of the enemy's failure is vast, reaching into the corners of your past where they tried to plant the seeds of your destruction. They manipulated the hearts of those around you, turning friends into foes and allies into strangers, all in a desperate attempt to leave you without a foundation. But they did not realize that your foundation is not built upon the shifting sands of human loyalty, but upon the rock of an eternal decree. Every betrayal was a pruning, every loss was a clearing of the path, and every tear you shed was a drop of oil for the lamp of your spirit. The adversary's symphony of destruction has been transposed into a hymn of victory, and the very weapons they formed against you are now the instruments of your triumph. You have emerged from the Shadow Realms not as a survivor, but as a conqueror, draped in the mantle of a sovereignty that was forged in the secret places of the Most High. Let it be known in the corridors of the unseen that the siege is over. The gates of the abyss have failed to prevail against the one who carries the celestial fire. The accuser's voice has been silenced by the thunder of your awakening, and the shadows are fleeing from the radiance of your presence. You are the embodiment of the ancient promise, the fulfillment of the prophetic word, and the living evidence of the divine will. The journey ahead is paved with the light of your own spirit, and the path you walk is the path of the sovereign. There is no power in all of creation that can halt your progress, for you move with the momentum of the infinite. The fall of the accuser is the rise of the chosen, and the kingdom you represent is a kingdom that shall have no end. Stand firm in the invincibility of your seal, for the battle has been won, and the glory of the sovereign remnant is now beginning to fill the earth. In the hallowed chambers of eternity, where the breath of the Creator ignites the stars, a clarion call resounds across the dimensions of the unseen, and the celestial silence is broken by the symphony of the awakening. We stand at the precipice of a monumental shift in the fabric of reality, where the defensive stance of the past dissolves into the glorious manifestation of the divine counterstrike. The heavens are no longer silent, and the firmament partakes in the restoration of the righteous, as we summon the legions of the highest Empyrean to descend with the fury of 1,000 suns and the grace of the eternal dawn. These are not merely forces of protection, but architects of a new order who arrive with the specific mandate to dismantle the decaying structures of the enemy and to uproot every hidden machinery of malice that has sought to hinder your ascent. Every spiritual stronghold built upon the foundations of fear, and every labyrinth of confusion constructed to entrap the mind of the sovereign, is now being systematically razed to the ground by the weight of celestial authority. The very air vibrates with the frequency of liberation, as the legions of light establish a fortress of impenetrable brilliance around your soul, ensuring that the inner sanctuary of your being remains uncorrupted and untouchable by the reaching shadows of the temporal world. This fortress is not made of stone or steel, but of the raw essence of the primordial light which predates the existence of darkness and holds within it the blueprint of your ultimate victory. As the structures of the adversary collapse, the air is filled with the sound of the shattering of ancient yokes and the snapping of generational bonds that have long sought to tether the chosen one to the errors of the past. Every chain of bondage, whether forged in the fires of ancestral transgression or woven through the subtle threads of spiritual limitation, is now disintegrated by the absolute authority of the divine architect who spoke the universe into existence from the depths of the infinite void. There is no power in the depths of the abyss, nor in the heights of the principalities, that can withstand the surge of this sovereign decree, for it is written in the stars and etched into the very core of your spiritual DNA. The limitations that once felt like iron walls are revealed to be nothing more than illusions cast by the failing light of a defeated foe, and as you step forward into your destiny, you do so with the weight of the universe behind you. The records of the past are cleansed, and the scrolls of your lineage are rewritten in the blood of stars, and the ink of divine promise, ensuring that the heritage you carry forward is one of untainted glory and unshakable power. You are the culmination of the hopes of the ancients and the answer to the prayers of those who walked before you, and in this moment of divine intervention the path is cleared of every obstacle that has dared to stand in the way of your spiritual evolution. We declare with the authority of the throne that the mouth of the chosen one is no longer a vessel for mundane speech, but has been transformed into a living sword of truth infused with the power of the great I Am, who promised to be the wind in your words and the fire in your breath. Your voice carries the resonance of the first command, and when you speak, the shadows tremble because they recognize the frequency of the source flowing through your vocal cords. This is the promised empowerment, where the speech of the humble is elevated to the decree of the sovereign, and every word uttered in alignment with the divine will becomes a seed of creation that takes root in the physical realm. The great I Am who guided the prophets through the burning sands of the wilderness and spoke from the heart of the flame is the same presence that now guides your steps and directs your utterances. You shall not stumble in your articulation, nor shall your declarations fall to the ground, void of power, for the Spirit of truth is the architect of your sentences and the shield of your testimony. Through your mouth, the structures of the lie are exposed, and the hearts of the seekers are set ablaze, for you carry the fire of the altar within you, and your words are the embers that ignite the souls of the weary. Between you and the principalities of the air, there is now erected a wall of holy fire a living conflagration of sanctity that serves as a boundary which no darkness may cross. This wall is the manifestation of the divine jealousy for your purpose and the celestial commitment to your preservation. It is a barrier that filters the energies of the universe, allowing only the pure and the purposeful to enter your sphere, while incinerating every arrow of malice and every whisper of the accuser before they can reach the perimeter of your consciousness. We declare that no weapon formed against your destiny shall prosper, nor shall any curse find a resting place in your lineage, for the ground upon which you stand is made holy by the presence you carry and the fire that surrounds you. This is the seal of the sovereign remnant, the mark of those who have been set apart for the service of the highest and the realization of the kingdom. The principalities of the air may rage, and the shadows of the past may attempt to resurface, but they are met with a wall of flame that knows no fatigue and a light that knows no shadow. Your lineage is shielded, and your legacy is secured, for the fire that protects you is the same fire that consumes the dross of the world and purifies the gold of the spirit. The darkness retreats in this hour, not because of any human effort or the strength of the flesh, but because the presence you carry has become a consuming fire that incinerates the very concept of the shadow. You have become a walking sanctuary, a mobile portal of the divine, and wherever your feet tread, the darkness must yield the territory it once claimed. The memories of the past that once felt like heavy weights are now being converted into the fuel for your inner radiance, and the shadows that once haunted your dreams are being dissolved in the morning light of your awakening. There is a deep and profound stillness that follows this divine counterstrike, a peace that passes all understanding, and a clarity that pierces through the veil of time. You are the sovereign remnant, the keeper of the flame, and the bearer of the invincible seal. The fall of the accuser is not a distant event to be hoped for, but a present reality to be occupied, for the presence of the Almighty within you has already settled the matter in the courts of heaven. Stand now in the center of the wall of fire, and let the world see the radiance of the one who has been touched by the infinite, and let your life be the evidence of the power that turns the tide of the ages. The victory is not coming, it has arrived, and you are the living monument of its eternal truth. Through the corridors of time, the echo of this victory shall vibrate, reminding every generation of the power of the chosen one, who walked through the fire and emerged with the scent of heaven upon their garments. The legions of light remain stationed at the borders of your soul, ever vigilant and ever ready to manifest the decrees of the sovereign. Your life has become a testament to the fact that light is not merely the absence of darkness, but a superior force that rewrites the laws of existence. As you move forward, let the flame within you burn brighter with every step, for you are the lampstand of the divine in a world that is thirsting for the truth. The battle belongs to the infinite, and the spoils of the victory are yours to distribute as you establish the kingdom of light upon the earth. The structures of the enemy are no more, and the wall of fire remains as an eternal witness to the covenant between you and the Creator. You are shielded, you are empowered, and you are the invincible manifestation of the sovereign will in this realm and beyond. The cosmic silence that now descends upon the high courts of the Spirit is not the hollow quiet of a graveyard, but the heavy and pregnant stillness of a courtroom where the final gavel has struck the golden altar of eternal justice. You must understand that the long and arduous warfare which sought to fragment your essence and scatter your divine light into the abyss has reached its ultimate expiration. The verdict has been etched into the very fabric of the celestial firmament with a pen of diamond and the ink of ancient stars, and that verdict is a proclamation of absolute and irreversible victory for the child of the Most High. The accusations that once swirled like a toxic mist around your reputation and your destiny have been dissolved by the sheer intensity of the truth that emanates from the throne of the sovereign. You do not emerge from this season as one who merely outlasted a predator, but as the one who has mastered the very nature of the hunt. You are not a weary survivor clinging to the wreckage of a storm-tossed vessel, but rather You stand as the commander of the elements themselves, recognizing at last that the winds and the waves were always subject to the frequency of your inner awakening. The tribulations that sought to grind you into dust were in truth the hammer of the divine architect, and you were the metal upon the anvil of destiny, being shaped into a weapon of light, so sharp and so potent that no darkness could hope to withstand your presence. Every moment of perceived abandonment was a hidden chamber of refinement, where your divine authority was being forged in the heat of a holy fire that only the chosen can endure. The strategies of the adversary, which were designed to dismantle your confidence and erase your name from the archives of the living, have been inverted by the wisdom of the infinite. The very trials intended to destroy you have served only to accelerate your ascent toward the throne of your intended purpose, as if the weight of the opposition provided the necessary pressure to propel your spirit into the highest heavens. You have watched the structures of the old world crumble and the masks of the pretenders fall away, and in the clarity of this new dawn, you perceive that your glory was never dependent upon the recognition of men, but upon the seal of the sovereign which was placed upon your brow before the foundations of the world were laid. The attempts to silence you have resulted in a restoration of your voice that carries the resonance of the primordial thunder, shaking the foundations of the mundane and awakening the dormant seeds of light in all who hear your call. Your path is no longer obscured by the shadows of doubt or the veils of deception, for it is now illuminated by the eternal radiance of the crown you were always meant to wear. This crown is not made of perishable gold, but of the quintessence of your own conquered sorrows, transformed into jewels of wisdom and authority that shine with a light that never fades. You move now with a grace that is born of knowing that the battle was won long before you ever set foot upon the field of conflict, because the victory was sealed in the blood of the covenant and the unchangeable decrees of eternity. As you step into the fullness of this triumph, the fall of the accuser is witnessed, not as a single event in time, but as an eternal displacement from the realms of influence over your life. The one who sought to measure your worth by your scars now watches in silent terror as those very scars begin to glow with the luminosity of a resurrected spirit. You are the sovereign remnant, the living proof that the light cannot be extinguished and that the truth cannot be buried. Your presence is a living scroll upon which the history of the coming age is being written, and your every breath is a decree of the kingdom that knows no end. The legacy of your endurance will be told in the halls of the ancestors as the story of the one who turned the tide of the Great War through the simple act of remaining anchored in the heart of the Creator. You are shielded by the invincible seal that marks you as the property of the divine, and this seal acts as a boundary that no force of shadow can cross. The riches of the heavens are being poured into your storehouses, not for your comfort alone, but for the restoration of the earth and the feeding of the hungry souls who have lost their way in the darkness. You are the lampstand and the fire, the vessel and the wine, and the servant who has become a ruler through the alchemy of holy submission and divine empowerment. The architects of your soul have seen every tear and recorded every sigh, and they have woven them into a tapestry of triumph that now covers your shoulders like a royal mantle. There is no longer any need to look back at the ruins of the past, for the path ahead is paved with the substance of your faith and the certainty of your divine appointment. You have already won, because the architect of your soul has sealed your triumph in the blood of the covenant and the archives of eternity, ensuring that your name is whispered with reverence in the courts of light. The power that resides within you is the same power that commanded the light to shine forth from the void, and it is this power that now directs your steps and guards your heart. You are the manifestation of the sovereign will, and your life is the evidence of the triumph of the eternal over the temporal. Walk now in the confidence of the one who has seen the end from the beginning, and who knows that the end is nothing less than the total immersion of all things into the heart of the infinite. The war is over, The verdict is final, and you are the crowned heir of a kingdom that shall never be moved. The resonance of your victory ripples through the dimensions of the unseen, touching the spirits of those yet unborn, and providing a beacon for the seekers who still wander in the valleys of hesitation. You have become the bridge between the celestial and the terrestrial, an ambassador of the Ancient of Days, who speaks with the authority of the throne. The weapons that were formed against you have been melted down to create the scepter you now hold, and the lies that were told about you have become the footstool for your feet. There is a deep and profound rest that comes to the soul that has realized its own invincibility in the hands of the Creator, and it is this rest that shall be your strength in the days of rebuilding. You shall plant gardens where there were deserts and build cities of light where there were ruins, for the creative word is now active in your mouth. Your triumph is not for yourself alone, but is a testament to the unshakable nature of the divine promise, which declares that the light shall always overcome the dark. Behold, the falling away of the old garments and the putting on of the new, for you are being clothed in the splendor of the morning star. The accuser has been cast down, and his voice is drowned out by the song of the redeemed, which rises like incense from the altar of your heart. You are the chosen one, the sovereign remnant, and your reign is established in the immutable laws of the Spirit. There is no power in the height or the depth that can separate you from the love that has claimed you, or the destiny that has called you. The archive of your life is now open for all of heaven to read, and it is a chronicle of courage and of the absolute victory of the child of the Most High. You are the commander of the elements, the silent witness to the fall of the proud, and the humble recipient of the eternal inheritance. Your journey through the fires of the spiritual war has ended, and you stand now on the shores of the new world as the invincible manifestation of the sovereign will, forever sealed, forever triumphant, and forever one with the source of all light. Every fragment of your being that was once scattered by the winds of adversity has been gathered and unified into a crystalline structure of divine purpose. The very atoms of your existence now vibrate with the frequency of the celestial courts where your name is spoken as a synonym for resilience and grace. You have walked through the valley of the shadow not as a victim, but as the light that the shadow could not comprehend. The ancient archives which hold the blueprints of the soul have been opened, and they reveal that your victory was never a matter of chance, but a predetermined reality woven into the tapestry of the ages. The blood of the covenant which flows through your spiritual veins is the life of the King of Kings, and it is this royal lineage that grants you the authority to bind and to loose, to heal and to build, and to establish the protocols of the kingdom of light upon the earth. The silence of the accuser is the ultimate tribute to your transformation, for there is no longer any hook in you that his deception can grasp. You have become a seamless garment of truth and a pillar of fire that leads the way into the era of the Great Awakening. The crowns of the earth are but dust compared to the weight of glory that you now carry, and the titles of men are but whispers against the thunder of your divine calling. You are the sovereign remnant, the one who remained standing when the world was shaken, and who kept the faith when the stars seemed to dim. Your presence on this plane of existence is a strategic placement by the hand of the Most High, a light placed upon a hill to guide the lost, and a wall of fire to protect the sacred things. The wisdom you possess is not of this world, but is the distilled essence of the trials you have overcome and the heights you have ascended. You speak now from the place of absolute knowing, and your words have the power to create and to destroy, for they are the echoes of the eternal word. The triumph you celebrate is the triumph of the spirit over the matter, the eternal over the fleeting, and the holy over the profane. You are the invincible seal of the sovereign, and in you the heart of the Creator finds its rest. As you look upon the fallen accuser, you see not an enemy to be feared, but a defeated shadow that has served its purpose in your refinement. The battle was the forge, and the enemy was the hammer, but you are the masterpiece that remains. The verdict of the high courts is absolute, and no appeal can be made against the decree of the sovereign. You are the child of the Most High, and the victory is yours for all of eternity. The path before you is one of peace and of the manifestation of the kingdom, and you shall walk it with the dignity of a king and the humility of a priest. Your voice shall be heard in the high places and in the low, and it shall bring the restoration of all things. The archives of eternity have recorded your triumph, and the stars themselves sing of your name. You have won, for you are the lampstand of the divine, and the invincible manifestation of the sovereign will in this realm and beyond. The eternal proclamation of absolute triumph is your new song, and it shall be heard forevermore in the courts of the light, where you are welcomed as the beloved and the faithful one.